Hello, everybody. This is Jake for Charge Sports, and today we're going to be beginning our Nebraska football coverage with our first Nebraska football video. Uh, the recap of the Iowa versus Nebraska game on Black Friday. Now, coming into this game, Nebraska was leading the all-time series 29 to 18 to 17. My bad. 29 to 17. And Iowa just, in the past couple of years though, Iowa's dominated the series, winning 4 in a row up until Friday. And I think Nebraska just needed this win to get to bowl eligibility, and they were fighting hard for it, but they didn't come out on top. Iowa obviously wanted it more than Nebraska did, and that's why the final score was the way it was. Now, Iowa, they are 9-3 now. Nebraska 5-7 will not make it to a bowl game. And there's some questions that the Nebraska's going to be asking themselves this offseason. And in this game, it was just a normal Big Ten slugfest. Not really the best for little speedy guys and spread offenses, but that's what we got. And right now, I'm going to show you guys all the scoring and turnovers in the game. Here's Nate Stanley under center for Iowa. Fakes the stretch play and just a reverse play to the other side of the field. Nate Stanley out there lead blocking, and he just runs all the way in for the touchdown. Just a breakdown on defense by Nebraska, running the same play Purdue ran against us a couple weeks ago to score the game-winning TD. And then Nebraska, we struck back a couple minutes later when Matt Waldock hit a 41-yard field goal. He's really been stepping up for Nebraska these past couple games, and he's going to give Pickering a run for his money this year for the starting job. Then here's Iowa's second touchdown play, and Stanley handed it off to Good, and he just ran it straight down and just straight through the defense. Just a breakdown. Just couldn't get off their blocks. Just didn't get breakdown and get the tackle, and we just couldn't stop him there. Just ran straight through us. And here's the Iowa kicker. He hit another field goal with about 11 minutes left in the second quarter to put them up 17-3. We punted once again, and they got the ball back, but the defense stepped up, and JoJo Doman knocked down the pass and letting Cam Taylor-Britt to run it in for a pick six. That was a really nice play by Taylor-Britt there. And then on the ensuing kickoff right away, it's not good enough. We just got beat. Didn't stay home completely. He just ran around us on the other side of the field, and he went all the way for that touchdown. Then here we have Martinez right before the end of the second quarter. Throws it into coverage, aiming for Jack Stoll, and it's intercepted by corner. That was just, he should have seen him coming. He should have got rid of the ball. I'm glad Martinez was throwing the ball, because what he'd been doing the rest of the game wasn't as nice as that, but I think it gave him some confidence issues. Then in the third quarter, putting Luke McCaffrey for one play, and what does he do? Throws a 39-yard touchdown to J.D. Spielman to make the game a one-possession game. And on the next Nebraska drive, walk-on senior Wyatt Mazur runs it into the end zone to give Nebraska a tie ball game and a chance to win this one. The end of the fourth quarter, about 2 minutes left. We've been trading punts the whole quarter, and Iowa's offensive line's driving their running back, and he drops the ball, and Nebraska gets it back and gave Nebraska a chance to win this game, but of course they didn't because our offense just couldn't get anything going. Then with about 6 seconds left in the game, Iowa kicked the 48-yard field goal to win it after Frost called 2 timeouts to try and ice the kicker. And just a bad loss for the Nebraska football. Second year in a row we lose to Iowa in a close game. And here we'll look at our passing stats for both teams. And Stanley was the only player who threw passes for Iowa. And 99 yards and 1 interception. Not a good game for him. Really, in the past couple weeks in the year, he's been throwing really well, but in this game he didn't throw well at all. The 99 yards and 1 interception, no touchdowns, which is odd for him. On the other side, Adrian Martinez was the starting quarterback for Nebraska. Just a horrendous game for him. Only threw for 50 yards. He usually throws for from 150 to 200 yards and an interception. Luke McCaffrey, pleasant surprise, only threw one pass for 39 yards, and that's only 11 yards off of Martinez on one pass, and I'd say that's pretty nice, and for one touchdown. Then there was Vedral. He threw for 11 yards and one pass when we put him in, I believe, on the second series. And then, of course, J.D. Spielman on the trick play. And then we get down to rushing yards, and I guess right now for Iowa, they had a bunch of great rushers, and they just ran all over us. They had a 100-yard rusher. That was the first time. Tyler Goodson, 100-yard rusher. That was the first time this year he's gone over 100, and anyone's gone over 100. On the other side, Dedrick Mills had a good game for 94 yards, but the problem is the attempts. 24 rushing attempts for only 94 yards. The yards per carry average is not good there. Also for Adrian Martinez, he seemed like he wanted to run every time he got put on pressure, and that's just not a sustainable strategy for a quarterback such as him. He can throw it, but he was just having a lack of confidence in the game. On Friday, he just couldn't do anything. And Mazur went in there for seven rushing attempts. Mazur went in there. 28 yards, pretty solid for the senior. I'm really glad he got a chance to score a Husker touchdown in his last game at Memorial Stadium. We move on to receiving. Neither of the teams really had the receiving performances that they usually do. You look over at Iowa, and most of their receiving yards came on that final drive of the game before they kicked that game-winning field goal. And I guess the tight ends. And then on Nebraska's end, J.D. Spielman, 39-yard catch, but brought back because swing passes, Scott Frost seemed to wanted to call a lot, and it really brought down our yard averages and our passing yards. Didn't do much for that, and it didn't do much for us either. We didn't get any pluses and bonuses on them. Cade Warner had a nice game, only 2 yards per 31, 2 receptions for 31 yards, and that was just a really nice game by him. Hopefully next year he can step up, and I can't remember if he has a redshirt year left, but if he can, then he could be a valuable asset for a while. Of course, Martinez dropped that ball. Then here's our offensive play of the game. You might recognize it from earlier. The touchdown pass thrown by Luke McCaffrey for 39 yards. He used his feet to draw the defense over in his direction, and the corner came back up thinking he was going to run it, and he just threw it right over the top to Spielman. And right here we're going to look at some team stats. Really what I read into these is Iowa's plays, they were mostly big plays or they were busts. Most of the plays they ran, they either went for at least 20 or 30 yards, or they didn't make any progress at all, and that's why you see the first down total the way they are. And Nebraska just ran a lot of run plays. That's why they're 11 rushing first downs, 5 passing. Both teams ran a lot of run plays, and it just really good plays by Nebraska on the run game. Even though their yards per carry average wasn't good enough, they still made some headway. You look at your third down conversions, Iowa did not get forced into third downs that often, 13 times, compared to Nebraska's 21. And you should not be needing to convert third downs 21 times. And fourth down conversions, 1, seems pretty low usually since Frost has been in Nebraska. We've gone on fourth down a lot. Total net yards was not good enough for Nebraska's normal as either. We get to our defense. Darian Daniels had a great game. Carried our defense up on the line when our linebackers and secondary couldn't get it done always. And of course I didn't put much pressure, but when they ran the ball and those linemen managed to get their hands on that running back, they really did well. Then Markel Dismuke, he had that one, a lot of gang tackles, 5 gang tackles, and of course he had the tackle on the horse collar to save the touchdown, which I'm glad he did tackle. I wish he would have tackled him lower, but I'd rather have a horse collar and prevent a touchdown, then just let them score the touchdown. Mo Berry had 6 total, had a lot of shared tackles, team tackles. Colin Miller did well. Doman, Honus, Taylor Britt, Lamar Jackson had 3 tackles, 2 solos, and when you're a corner, you got to expect that. Not going to get the big tackle numbers. I was looking for Carlos Davis to have a lot better game than he did, but only 1 tackle for him. Luke Reimer got a tackle in there too. And here's our Nebraska defensive play of the game. You'll see, just as before, Cam Taylor Britt catches the ball after Doman tips it in the air, and that's a pick 6. Defense played quite well, actually, compared to how the offense did. And then here we have Dedrick Mills is our offensive player of the game. And Dedrick, he really did well. He had 94 yards rushing on 24 carries, and his yards per average was 3.9. He just didn't, he's carrying much of the workload for Nebraska right now. And I think in the next year, he's going to get to be a real good I-back, and I think he has a shot to make it a long ways. But the offensive line is going to have to improve a little bit to allow the running backs to get bigger running lanes and try to get bigger gains, increase that yards per carry average. And he had a long of 14 yards. And compared to Devine Ozigbo, he's had a down year going from Ozigbo to Mills, but that's just the transition. And here's Mills' biggest play of the game. Have Adrian Martinez pitches it to Mills on the speed option, and that was a good pitch by Martinez, good catch by Mills to get 14 yards. Then our defensive player of the game is Darian Daniels. He really disrupted this. He really stopped that Iowa run game from getting going when a lot of our defense wasn't being super productive when they could have been. They played pretty well, but there was when it came down to it, they couldn't get the job done when it mattered the most. And Daniels, he had 6 total tackles, 4 solo tackles, which is nice when a player can break down and get at those running backs and get at those wide receivers. Guess he's not tackling wide receivers, but still, just a nice game. 1 tackle for loss, and you'll see that one in a second. That's a nice tackle he's got there. And just stopping the play behind the line. And he didn't have any sacks, but he's a nose guard. He's supposed to plug up the middle. It's not his job to have sacks. And here he is, number 79, Darian Daniels, wraps him up, puts him down. That was a nice play by Darian there for the loss, making it 3rd down. Then right here, here's my first play breakdown. So you'll see McCaffrey's in there, and it looks like it's busted up. There's linebackers everywhere. It looks like he's going to get tackled in the open field. He makes a nice break, and if that guy wouldn't have held on, he would have got a nice gain there. And, of course, I was called back because of the Mike Williams blindside blocking, but that was just a bad call by the referees. Here's our second play we're looking at. Adrian Martinez on the quarterback draw. 40 seconds left, he runs out of bounds. It's really not a good strategy for someone who's wanting to win the game. Oh, and here we have a play by Scottsbluff's punter in the Class B state game. And that was just a nice play. He picked it up after the bad snap, and he went back and he made an 80-yard punt. That was really nice by Scottsbluff's punter. All right. I'd like to thank everyone for watching my breakdown of the Nebraska game this past Black Friday. And I'd just like to tell you that, I'd just like to thank you for watching. And if you want more Nebraska content, then go ahead and like and subscribe. And if you want to turn on your notification bell, that'd be great too. Thanks for watching. Bye.